Today, let's learn one of the easiest and most useful knots in all of fishing, the Improved Clinch Knot. This knot is super simple and can be used on hooks, swivels, weights, and all sorts of terminal tackle, and is great for beginners. That being said, we'll also talk about a variation and a specific example where you definitely don't want to use this knot, so make sure to watch the whole video to see both of those. So let's get into it. The first step of this knot is to take your tag end and run it through the eye of your terminal tackle, which in this case is a hook. Give yourself a decent length of tag end to work with, and here I like to pinch the eye of the hook, which secures the base of the knot in place, and it makes it easier to work with once you start wrapping. The next step is to wrap the tag end around the main line about 5 to 7 times. Now this can vary depending on the type of line you're using and the line strength. The line I'm using here is very heavy, so I don't need that many wraps, but if you're using very light line, you might need 7 to 8 wraps. Now what you're going to do is take your tag end and run it through the small loop that you've created near the eye of the hook. Now you don't want to run it through the eye of the hook itself, but just a little loop that you made at the start of the knot. So now basically what you've made is a little circle. So the very final step of this knot is to take your tag end and run it back up and through that circle. It doesn't matter which side you run it through or anything like that, you just want to run it through that circle. And then what you'll do is you'll pull the tag end slightly, holding the main line taut, and that'll take most of the slack out, but don't completely cinch the knot tight just yet. At this point it helps to wet the line. Most fishermen just use a little saliva to lubricate it, and then you can pull your main line tight and it will cinch the knot down onto the hook. After that, you just take your clippers and you trim the tag end. Now a bonus tip here, avoid cutting the tag end all the way down to the knot. You want to leave just a very short section of that tag end, because if you cut it flush, there is a potential that trophy fish gets just enough pull to get that tag end through the knot, and then everything will come undone. One variation I've seen on this knot that I don't personally recommend is to put your tag end through the eye, and then instead of wrapping that tag end around, you just hold it in place and you twist the hook instead for the desired number of wraps. Now the reason I don't personally use this is basically what we see right here. If you can't pinch the knot at the eye of the hook, the pressure of the line sometimes leaves you with a very small loop end to run the tag end through. So this can make it difficult to get the tag end back through the loop and through the circle. Now this depends on the type and strength of line you're using, so if this works for you, that's awesome. I've just never had much luck with it. And I'm actually interested in which of these variations you've used more, or if you even use this knot, so leave a comment down below and let me know. Now, a word of caution. As great as this knot is, there are some applications where it definitely does not make sense. One specific example where you do not want to use this knot is if you are tying heavy monofilament or fluorocarbon line to a piece of terminal tackle. In this case, this is 60-pound fluorocarbon line that you see here. And the reason being is that when you take your tag end and you start to make your wraps, even if you only make 3 or 4, heavy mono and fluoro have a lot of strength and they can be springy and they want to unravel. So once you put your tag end through the original loop and then through your circle, what you'll find is the loop really doesn't want to cinch closed. It takes a lot of pressure to close it, and you may need pliers to do so. And oftentimes when you're trying to maintain that pressure on the loop, the tag end has a tendency to find its way out, and ultimately it can unravel, or you can end up with a suboptimal knot. I learned a different, super simple knot that I like to tie in these situations and I've had a lot of success with, and I'll put that video at the end if you're interested. And by the way, if you found this video helpful at all, I would really appreciate it if you push that subscribe button and you can see more knots and tips like this one. Let's take one final look at this knot just at regular speed and you can see what that looks like. It's a pretty fast knot and I really recommend it for beginners. This was the very first knot that I was taught as a kid. It's probably the one I've tied the most. It's my go-to for teaching friends and kids how to tie a basic fishing knot, and I've caught fish ranging from perch in Minnesota to red snapper in Florida with it. However, for those situations where you don't want to or can't use this knot, like the one we talked about, check out this video above for a super simple and fast alternative. Thanks for watching.